Hello everyone checking out the Platinum Mask YouTube channel. I have with me a local DFW artist, Yasmeen, and this was a story that kind of originally popped up. I saw her originally on a Dallas Observer article and wanted to reach out, specifically, thought her story surrounding her kind of at a company like Lockheed Martin and kind of exploring the corporate life while also really just kind of pioneering as a local DFW musician and artist. I thought it would be kind of a fun topic to talk about. So I wanted to, just thank you again, Yasmeen, for just taking out the time today to, be able to explain kind of on these two different avenues that you've been able to explore in music and just in your career.
Thank you. No, thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
For sure. Well, I guess I wanted to kind of first ask about, originally just kind of about your upbringing. Was like, I guess going into pop music or just kind of working in music in general, was that like something, was your family like really into music growing up, or how did that look like?
Yeah, so both my parents are Afghan, so I'm from Afghanistan, but I basically was raised in Texas my entire life. And so, 90s baby, so whenever, Britney Spears or Justin Timberlake came on in the car, I'd sing along with it. Very much so, like, my mom would, turn up the music, and I also knew a lot of the Afghan culture music, too, growing up. But really the focus was school. That was the primary focus was, you better make good grades so you can get into a good college and so you can get a good job. And music or a career in music was something that was never really an option, which, I can totally understand. Just, I know there's, a lot of musicians, especially when the pandemic hit, it kind of was, the struggle bus, really, getting work and all that stuff. But I pretty much sang ever since I was a kid. I did talent shows. I was in choir in high school, did show choir, and then in college, I also did pop a cappella music, and so pretty much when I graduated, I was like, well, what do you want to do? I still knew I wanted to be involved with music, and I took a stab at writing music. I don't have a music background per se. I never really studied music theory or anything like that, but I decided I enjoy pop music. I listen to it on the regular, R&B as well, and so I started writing my own music, and it came to be what it is today. So, yeah.
And like when you touched up on the idea of, I guess, growing up singing a lot and kind of like with your family being similar, I was kind of like, was there a moment, I guess, that you knew that you had like an idea for performing or that it came naturally to you? Or was it like something you had to, I guess, adapt to as a kid?
I'm a huge extrovert. Even when I was very young, I would put on these like little dance parties with my mom, and she would just record me. I never sang. It wasn't until 6th grade, I think, when I was like, I want to do a talent show. I want to sing in front of people. And my mom was like, you've never done that before. Are you sure you want to do that? And I was like, yeah, why not? And so I just kind of put myself in that position, and even though sometimes I still do get nervous, I think it kind of came naturally because I was always already used to, I don't want to say being the attention seeker or anything like that, but I already kind of enjoyed talking to people and being personable with people, and I was never to myself. I always had friends. I always had large groups of people around me, so I think it was something that I was like, yeah, let's just do it and see how it goes, and I loved it, and I still love it, so.
Mm-hmm. And like, I guess going into that type of role as an extrovert and I guess liking the idea of being able to perform for others and bringing out that music, were you, I guess, did that make you more prone to groups and like having a group dynamic when it comes to singing? Or did you, I guess, naturally prefer like being able to be by yourself and like have the entire, I guess, creative experience under, just your sole belt?
Absolutely. So So doing solo stuff terrified me because I only knew how to be in a group, how to function in a group. Whether it was choir in high school with a group of people, a cappella, I was with a group of people. I was never on my own. Maybe I had a solo here and there, and I would sing, for a couple of lines with a group behind me, but I never took that extra step to go, what if I did this by myself, or if I had a band and I was the only person people were focusing on. And that also terrified me because I was so used to being in a group, bouncing ideas off of other people, whereas now it's just kind of me and my own ideas. But it was also kind of exciting because I felt like that was a missing element, if you will, especially in college when I was an adult going through, life and doing music and songs that other people were writing for me. And I was like, this is fun, but I would love to see what I could come up with. I had always kind of been like that growing up. I very much like to do things individually, especially like in my career, aside from music. But terrified, but I'm glad to make the leap.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when did that, I guess, originally happen? So were you doing, a lot of a cappella groups before college? Or what was, the first breakthrough, in your first a cappella group?
Yeah, so fun fact, I went to the University of Texas at Arlington. I studied mechanical engineering there. And I had done choir for, a semester, regular choir at the music department. They allow non-music majors to join. And it was the fall of 2016. I saw flyers up for a pop a cappella group, and I was like, this is different. I'm so used to choir, and then in show choir we would do some show tunes, some pop music, but it was never cool, you know what I mean? So when I saw pop a cappella, I was like, this is so cool. This is so fun. It reminded me of Pitch Perfect, and I was like, I love that movie. I would love to be a part of something like that. And I went and I auditioned, and I was, I think, one of the only people who was a non-music major that ended up making it to the group. So never had done it before. Like I said, took the leap, and it was probably one of the best decisions of my life.
Did going into something like that as a non-music major, was there any key lessons that you learned from being around, I guess, people who had the technical knowledge or something like that? Or, was there any maybe lessons that you didn't know coming into it that you were able to pick up from others?
Oh, absolutely. I learned everything I feel like I know about music, and musicality and tonality and all that fun stuff. Yeah, I did choir in high school, and I self-taught myself how to sight read. Not well, not good at it, but I will, if I put my mind to it, I'll learn it. I learned how to blend with other people. I learned that I don't need to be the loudest voice in the room, because when you're with a group, you need to learn when to be quiet. You need to learn, what your mouth shape needs to be looking like. All those different things, I definitely learned within that pop group, because I feel like I even found my own voice, my own individual voice being in that group and learning more about what I could do as an artist and as a musician.
Mm-hmm. And with, I didn't know so Pitch Perfect came out before this type of group was an idea. Was that I guess, did it really make the idea of pop groups really popular in these type of college programs?
So a cappella has always been around. Pitch Perfect is actually, it revolves around a real competition called the ICCAs, or the International Championship of Collegiate a cappella. That's a real thing, and I think it's been around since the late 90s. I think John Legend, he was in one of those a cappella groups, and so the guy who started it, his name's Caleb Moore. He was the music director and the founder, I guess, of Rise. And he had come from Baylor, from a really, really good pop a cappella group from them. 2015, they went all the way to New York to finals, and they were able to compete against pretty much the 10 best college a cappella groups in the country. So I guess that started first. Pitch Perfect became the movie or a fiction version of said competition. So I guess that's how it kind of started.
And like, I guess like in the group that, you know, when you're involved at UT Arlington, so what was the, I guess the training process like in building up to go to other competitions? Were you guys meeting on a weekly basis, or, you know, how long were the regiments for, and kind of like what were the practices like?
Yeah, so in the fall, usually that's when they would hold auditions, and then we would prepare for just a winter concert. And then it wasn't until the second semester when we would start learning new music for the set. So you need to come up with 12 minutes of music, 12 minutes only. We would have rehearsals twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, depending how bad we needed it. And you would learn about 3 to 4 songs. You know, each one features a soloist. You would also have to learn choreography with it. And so I'm not talking like major choreography, but, you know, stuff to incorporate with the set to make it visually pleasing. So yeah, we would have weekly rehearsals and sometimes even weekend rehearsals if we needed it.
Mm-hmm. How much are like things like, I guess going into the competition, how much are things like choreography? I guess like what percentage of it, you know, is part of the grade, I guess, when it comes to this competition?
Yeah, so I think the judges, and I think it depends on, you know, which competition you end up going, because now there's multiple a cappella competitions around the country. But I think it all boils down to your sound, your overall sound. Musicality is something I mentioned, you know, dynamics, whether you're really loud the entire 12-minute set, or if you're really quiet, or if there's some kind of variation within your music. And then you've got like the choreo or the visualization part. So usually they split it up into like different categories. They give you a number maybe out of 10 or 100 or something, and then they tally it up at the end.
Mm-hmm. And what was the, I guess, what were like your, you know, going to that group, did you have any highlight performances or, you know, any songs that you performed with that, you know, that you're kind of most proud of looking back? Yeah,
so in 2018, we won our first round, which is quarterfinals, and then we won our second round, which is semifinals. And we got to go to New York and even got to perform at Carnegie Hall, which was amazing. But one of the songs that stood out to me is Adele's When We Were Young. I actually sang the solo for that song, and being able to stand on stage in New York City. First, we performed at the Beacon Theater, where they hold the Tony Awards. And just to be on that stage with the other 9 best college a cappella groups, and then eventually going to Carnegie Hall and doing the same thing, was life-changing. I'm pretty sure I would never be able to get that experience, I feel like, with any other group or with the people that I ended up becoming really good friends with. I just remember, even to this day, 4 years later, still remember being on that stage, singing that song, singing that solo, and like pretty much tearing up and being like, wow, like I actually made it. You know, who would have thought little old me from, you know, Dallas, Texas. So yeah, surreal experience.
Mm-hmm. I was kind of wondering, like, you know, with that type of experience and being in such a, you know, large national competition, you know, going to Carnegie Hall to perform with others. And, you know, it seems like, you know, you started off years ago on YouTube and kind of doing kind of a lot of different music covers. Was like the idea of like, you know, like when American Idol blew up, was that like ever something that appealed to you or was on your radar?
Oh yeah, definitely. I even auditioned. I auditioned, I think, twice. And in 2020, right when the pandemic hit, I think in August of 2020, I auditioned. I actually ended up going to the second round of auditions with a different group of producers, which was really cool. I've never advanced to another round for like a TV competition before, so that was pretty cool. And it was with one of my original songs too, so that validated my writing, especially from someone who doesn't normally write music. So yeah, I've done it.
So what's like the, I guess, on like the first trial, what's the setup like? Because I remember just kind of as a kid, like you would think that, that Simon Cowell personally goes through the millions of people, but it was kind of, so what's like I guess like the first sit down like, and, how much time do you have, and what does it look like?
So because I had only auditioned during the pandemic, I only know the virtual process, but basically you would register for a time slot, like a 5 to 6 p.m. time slot, and then they have a Zoom that you join. So you're in the Zoom with like maybe 40, 50 other people, and then they have like per state, they have different days and different times so that they can accommodate to everybody. And then you're in the Zoom, and then there's like 2 or 3 producers in there. You can ask them questions, and basically you just prepare like a minute and a half, a verse or a chorus of a song. And sometimes you want to prep more than one song because the producer might ask you to sing more than one song. And so just in case, I prepped 2 songs, and then a third one just in case they wanted to ask me. I mean, that was just in the back of my mind. I was like, you never know. I just wanted to make sure I was prepared. And I think I was in this big Zoom with a bunch of other people for maybe 30 minutes. It wasn't long. It was a pretty good process. Honestly, they should do that starting now and like forever, because I'm sure people don't enjoy waiting in long lines and having to travel and all that jazz. But they put me into a break room or a breakout room with 2 producers and you. It's just the 3 of you, or it's 1 producer and you. And in my case, it was 1 producer and I. And they pretty much were like, hi, like, how are you? This is what you're going to do. And then, let you know, or something like that. And so they're like, what's your name? Said my name, gave a little backstory. They wanted to know a little bit about you, like a little bio. I tried to keep it brief. And I started, I don't even remember the songs I sang. But I sang a song. It wasn't original. It was just a cover. And I played piano with it. And one of them was Valerie by Amy Winehouse. And I finished, stopped where I needed to stop. And he was like, okay, good. He was like, can I hear another? And I was like, okay, sure. I played another one, stopped. And then I was like, okay, like, I think I asked him, I said, well, would you like to hear an original song? And he was like, sure, why not? And sometimes that can be risky, but I was like, why not? I mean, I'm here, I want to try it out. If it doesn't go well, it doesn't go well. At least I get some kind of feedback, I guess. Sang it, I think he liked it. He asked for a third song, and I sang a cover of another song I don't remember anymore. But he was like, yeah, great, thank you. And he was writing something down, and he goes, okay, is this your email address? And he said my email address out loud, and I was like, yeah, that's my email. And he was like, okay, I'm going to send you a link. I want you to click on it, and I want to let you know you're advancing to the second round. And I was like dumbfounded. I was like, what? This is crazy. This has never happened to me before. And he was like, just click on this link, and they're going to make you fill out another questionnaire. And I think it's like a deep dive into who you are, what your story is. Because as we all know, if you watch a lot of these singing competitions, a lot of them kind of dive into your life story and what you're about. So sometimes, it is about the music, right? But sometimes some of these people, might have something heartfelt or, trauma that they went through that they're like, oh, this would be good for TV, if we're all being honest. And so, I went, clicked on another link. They took me to another Zoom with significantly less people. I think there was like 10 people on there. I guess they had made it to the second round. I filled out this questionnaire. It was a huge deep dive. I think it took me like 30 minutes to fill out because they were asking for a lot of personal information, stories and stuff like that. Filled it out. They put me in another room with 2 producers this time, 2 different ones. And then I sang one song, and then I asked if I could sing another original, since they had asked for a second one. Sang my original, and then they were like, okay, so we'll let you know. And I don't think I received a response until like a month later or something like that. But it was a pretty cool experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like in that situation, was there any like other, I guess, because I remember like seeing something about like the amount of shows that have arisen like after American Idol or took inspiration from American Idol, like, you know, where it's American Idol but country songs only or original songs only or groups only? Was there ever like a show that caught your eye, or was like American Idol, is it always just going to be the number one?
Yeah, and again, I mean, I didn't really actively try to audition because I know that at the end of the day, like, I don't get my hopes up about that kind of stuff. I'm definitely not the best singer in the room. I'm very passionate about what I do, and I feel like my writing is also not, you know what I mean? Like, I can admit that I feel like I'm a pretty average singer, and what I do is pretty average, but I love doing what I do, and I feel like the passion is what kind of drives me to do what I do, and I'm okay with that. Like, I mean, nobody's going to be another Christina Aguilera, but that's fine, you know, because there's so many artists out there that can't sing that well, but they've got really well-written songs or really good production and all that jazz. But yeah, I didn't really care to audition for any other shows. Again, it wasn't a priority. I think the priority for me was writing music and performing gigs and shows and gigging around the DFW area, and I've loved it so far. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when was the turn into diving into, I guess, like original music and like your own writing process? Because I know, it seemed like on YouTube that, you really started off with really covers, with that like being a huge part. And I was kind of wondering, like, how'd you, was there like a rough transition when it came to like with the writing process, or did it come naturally to you, or, how did that look?
Yeah, so when I was little, I feel like everybody did this, but I would write like my own mini songs. They weren't any good, but I mean, I liked doing it, and I never really did it again until I became an actual adult. So like a whole decade later, it was rough because again, I've never really written seriously, and without that kind of music theory knowledge behind me or learned, it's kind of hard to sit at a keyboard and go, okay, I'm going to play these chords and see what happens, because I roughly knew like 3 or 4 main chords on my keyboard from self-teaching myself, and I kind of went with that. I try to pull on experiences that I've been through in my life to help write. It's kind of hard to write when I don't really know the context, or you know what I mean. So it really something has to happen to me, or something impactful for me to be like, oh, I want to write about this, and this is how I'm feeling in the moment. But my writing process generally has been, first I play some kind of chords or keys, or if I'm listening to like a pattern of chords, I typically start that way first. And then I start vocalizing what I want the vocals to sound like. So I'm not even thinking about words. I'm sometimes not even thinking about the context of the song just yet. I just want to see if I can get ideas out there. I just kind of keep throwing things against the wall and hoping something sticks. So I have like audio memos upon audio memos of just me humming tunes, because I'm like, oh, this would sound cool. And then once I think I have a solid idea, I'm like, okay, let's put words to this. What am I feeling in this moment? How do I want this song to be a ballad? Do I want this song to be, just like a chill vibe, or like, what am I going for? And then that's when I start writing and actually putting the lyrics down, and doing a chorus or a verse, and then eventually finishing the song.
It's kind of, it's kind of wild to think of that, because, it seems like that sounds kind of like maybe the opposite that I would kind of expect that from other artists, or, they'll normally say like they start from an idea and kind of build from there, instead of like starting the music and then kind of reversing or kind of going backwards from there. I was kind of like, was there ever, I guess, sitting there and then kind of strumming in music and building from there, was there ever like is there any of your songs like a huge surprise to you on like how it ended up, than like, from like where you started?
Yes, I want to say one of the songs off of my debut album, Pure Bliss, Do It Over Again. that was something that took me a while to finish, and I don't think it was because it was hard. I think it was just because I didn't know how to end it. I didn't know how to spin it. I think I was kind of tired of the ABAB format, which is like the verse, chorus, and then a bridge, and then chorus again. And I was like, I don't want to do that pattern for every song that I write, and I kind of wanted to change it up, and I didn't care if it didn't work or if it didn't match or if it's not like the regular way people are supposed to write music. This was just, I was like, I want to try something, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And so with Do It Over Again, I had that typical verse, chorus, but then I go into a whole part of the song where I feel like it shouldn't go together, but it does go together. And it's a breakdown section that ends up taking the rest of the song. So, sorry, I'm getting a call from my mom. Yeah, that was a song that took me by surprise, because I didn't write that whole half of the song until maybe months later, because I was like, oh, here's a solid idea. What can I do with it? And ended up changing it at the end. So
when it comes to like when you're bringing up the idea of not wanting to have like the same structure in every single song and not having that fixed A-B format, I was kind of wondering, like, when it comes to like doing singles versus like coming up with the album, on like, I guess the structure on how you build that out, and kind of, do you want like consistency in the music, or do you want like every song to be entirely unique or entirely different from the others? Like, how does that work out?
Well, in terms with the album that I dropped last year, Pure Bliss, I didn't really have an idea of what I wanted it to be. During the pandemic, like around May 2020, I just wanted to write a song and be like, is this good enough for me to record? I wrote it, recorded it, and then I released it in November. And that's when I was like, I should write more. What might happen? What can I do with this? And I ended up writing like 7 more songs for the rest of the year, and recording it, and then pretty much releasing 2 more singles after that. And again, I didn't really have a plan at that point, because I was just starting out and I wanted to get a feel. And I think it wasn't until maybe March or April of last year where I was like, I want to put an album together, because I'm having a string of songs, and it would be great to, release an album as a starting artist, I guess. So.
Mm-hmm. And like, when it comes to like putting together, I guess, an album, is there, I guess, like a major theme for the album when like tying the songs together, or was it, or was that like not needed when it came to like putting it together?
Yeah, so I don't think I had a theme in mind. I think my theme was just me, was just pretty much every aspect I am as an artist growing up. Like I said, pulling on experiences with relationships and love, and even just fun songs that I feel like encapsulate me as a person, not necessarily a specific theme. Like I have a song on the album called Mommy's Lullaby. It's about my mom and me singing in my native tongue, which is Dari or Farsi. And that comes from a folk song that my mom and my mom's mom used to sing to her and then to me when I was a kid, which was considered a lullaby. And so I wanted to incorporate, like I said, parts of me, parts of my culture into it as well, even if it is a pop album. And yeah, so no theme, at least for that one.
And like, kind of as you bring up, I was kind of wondering, like, was like the idea of like Farsi or just kind of culture, your upbringing, or, where your family's from, was that like ever, I guess, like a major influence on the music, or did you consider it like a smaller symbolism in the songs, or kind of a major spotlight? Like, how big of an influence was it always?
So growing up, I didn't have a lot of family here. A lot of my family is overseas. And And I kind of just grew up with me and my mom, and then when she remarried, and then my younger half sister. So really, it was just us. I didn't really have like any of my grandparents here. I had my dad, but I wasn't really close to his side of the family. They're all overseas as well. And so I kind of also struggled personally with being an Afghan American, because at home I had this identity, but at school or at work I had another identity, which was just, Yasmeen. And I honestly, growing up, I felt close to my roots, but at the same time I didn't feel very close to my roots, just because I don't feel like I had that, a big group of people where I could continuously get to know about my culture and my heritage and my family. I just really had my mom, telling me things or teaching me things that she knew. And so when I was writing this album, I knew I wanted to incorporate my culture in it somehow. I just didn't know how to. And so my mom, she was like, if you do this album, you have to do some kind of Dari or Farsi. She was like, you have to, and I was like, no, I get it. Like, I want to. And it kind of clicked and it hit me. When I was younger, I used to really love this folk song. It's a lullaby. And so I went online, looked at the lyrics, even had my mom sit in during the recording session so that I could make sure I got the pronunciation correct, because I didn't want to mess that up. And so, yeah, and then I wrote my own English verses or pop verses with it. And so, yeah, I knew that I wanted to put a song on there related to my culture. I just didn't know how, and then I did. And I'm really happy about it, because I feel like when you listen to the whole album and you get to that song, it's kind of like a palate cleanser. It's not something you expect, because a lot of my listeners are not Afghan. They're American. And so, but it's crazy, because I've had a lot of people come up to me. They're like, I love Mommy's Lullaby. And I'm like, that's crazy, because more than half the song, you don't even know what I'm saying. But I guess it's, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
And it's like Mommy's Lullaby, when it comes to like the music, was that like, is that like the main song that you can think of that maybe got like better attention than you originally expected, or is there any other songs?
Oh yeah, that song definitely did, because I've only ever performed it once, and it was at my debut concert release party, what have you, just because I'm not going to sing that at a club or at a bar, or, you know what I mean? It's very slow. It's a ballad, is essentially. And it's obviously in another language. So I never would perform that. I mean, I would love to perform it again. That would be amazing. But yeah, I got a lot of positive feedback from a lot of English speaking people. So that felt really good. Another song, I feel like, that I'm not quite surprised with the attention, but I'm proud of it, is Something Good. It's a song called Something Good. And I kind of like it because it's got this, I don't want to say rock kind of feel. It's definitely not a rock song, but the guitar and the guitar riffs and everything about it, I went into it thinking, I was like, I want this to have like a Chris Stapleton / Justin Timberlake kind of vibe. And I think that came across exactly the way I wanted it to. And so I have a lot of people that are like, I really love that song. It's so good. Like, I have it on repeat, and I'm like, oh, thanks. Like, I really, I was hoping so.
Did what was like the public perception like of Situationship?
Yeah, so actually, Situationship is a cover song of a Persian artist, Iranian. Her name is Aalegra. She's an R&B singer. You don't meet or know a lot of Middle Eastern singers who have, broke out in the pop industry. I mean, she's collabed with Tyler, the Creator. She had Pharrell produce some of her tracks on the newest album that just came out. And she had Michael B. Jordan in one of her music videos. So, like, she's making her mark. And she even had a set at Coachella this year. So, like, she's doing so well for a Middle Eastern, background. But, like, her sole genre is pop and R&B. And so I love her. And just because of that, I love her music, regardless. But she's such a huge inspiration, and I just love the song Situationship. And so I decided I would love to pay homage or just do my own version or my own cover of it. And so I had this idea in my head. I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a music video for it, and it's going to be fun. So.
And like with the, I guess like the use of the music video and putting that together. So what kind of locations did you guys use? I know I saw like, it was all outdoor shots. What specifically were you guys, going to?
I kind of wanted it to be a feel-good kind of music video, and I was like, I want to do choreo because I love dancing, and I'm also, I don't want to call myself a choreographer, but like when it comes to groups and stuff, I'm usually helping with the choreo. And so to me, I was like, this would be fun. I already had it in a vision in my head what I wanted it to look like. And I was like, outdoors, I want to have backup dancers, which two of my really good friends from the pop a cappella group that I was in college, they came out and helped dance with me, which was really cool. And so we mostly filmed in Arlington, downtown Arlington. So a lot of the shots that you see are pretty much really close to UTA. And then there's a park, I think maybe 10, 15 minutes away with like all the greenery where you don't really see anything else but trees. I forgot the name of the park. I apologize. But pretty much everything was in Arlington. So.
For sure. Well, and kind of like, I remember like seeing, like after that type of collab, I was kind of wondering like on, was there any other like local DFW artist or I guess anyone that you've like spotted that you'd be interested on like doing a music video or kind of maybe just collabing in general?
Definitely. So one of my really good friends who's also, I met her through this pop a cappella group in college. It's called Rise. Her name is Angie, but she goes by the stage name of Kaze. And I've had the pleasure of having her with my band. She sings backup for me most of the time. She's an artist herself. She writes original music. She's so good at what she does. And she's been doing a couple of gigs with a group called Big Shug. And they're also a local DFW band. And I would love to just collaborate on a song with her, which I actually, I had an idea for a song the other day and I sent it to her. And I was like, yo, if we could do a song together with this and we just add on to it, that would be great. And she was all in. So that is definitely an artist I would love to collaborate with on a song or a music video.
Definitely. Well, to kind of like wrap everything up, I really just wanted to ask, is there any upcoming projects, either associated with the music or just kind of what you do right now in the STEM field, that you're excited about, that you wanted to bring up?
Sure. So I didn't expect to be creatively writing again. I think right after I dropped my album in October, I was like, okay, I'm going to take a break. Not stress out about writing or recording. And I did that for like 5 solid months. Just kept gigging away, which was really fun. But I had the creative bug came right back this past month, and I've been writing music again. I actually went to the studio last week and recorded a song, which I'm hoping will be a summer single. So I'm really excited for that. I'm not sure if it will turn into an EP or an album, but I'm just kind of writing, like I said, for fun. And I think there's going to be a common theme with this one. I feel like all the songs have a common theme. And so I won't say what it is just yet. But yeah, I've been writing, I've been recording, and I'm happy. I'm excited for Yasmeen 2.0. I feel like this kind of music is a lot different than what I wrote before. Because I feel like now I have the experience of writing and recording. And now I'm like, okay, what else can I do? So, yeah.
Definitely. Well, I wanted to honestly just thank you again, Yasmeen, for not just be able to kind of like honestly just talk about what you're kind of doing the projects, whether it's kind of related to what you're doing in the STEM field and kind of what you're doing with your music when it comes to maybe breaking some of these stereotypes and advancing, certain, topics and ideas through your songs that you want to explain or just share with others. But also just kind of really just your past experiences that have really helped, I think, kind of shape the music, whether it's kind of the a cappella groups, kind of your American Idol auditions, your collabs with other artists, the development of these music videos, going from doing covers to original music. I thought it was kind of really cool topics for anyone possibly looking to follow your footsteps. And no, I think it's going to be kind of like you're just saying. It seems like it's going to be really cool projects from here, and Yasmeen 2.0.
Sounds good. And thank you so much for hitting me up and doing this interview. I really enjoyed it. Thank you. You did your research.